Hello. Come in. Martin and I were just talking about kind of a Memorial Day theme here. We were talking about one of life's great adventures, death. Scary word, yeah. In our language, it usually is. Let me tell you this, our philosophy. Back in 1846, 1847, the Mormon pioneers were driven out of their homes. Out of that came a beautiful song, inspiring song. It goes like this, Martin told me. Well, that's guitar talk. In English, it tells a story of a people who were driven from their homes by armed mobs back in Nauvoo, Illinois. And they made a great exodus across a great part of the United States, looking for a place where they could be alone to worship as they chose. And they found it in Utah. It was a long, long trip. And it began an exodus that lasted for more than 40 years. Tens of thousands came. More than 6,000 were left along the plains, buried in shallow graves. They died along the way. And yet with all that, they came singing. And this was their favorite song, and this is one of the verses. And should we die before our journey's through, happy day, all is well. We then are free from toil and sorrow too. With the just we shall dwell. But if our lives are spared again to see the saints their rest obtain, oh, how we'll make this chorus swell. All is well. All is well. That is still our proclamation about death. All is well. I remember my own father more than a few years ago. He lay in a bed in the home he'd lived in for most of his married life, most of his adult life. Sitting by his side was his beloved bride of 46 years, and surrounding his bed was his precious children, precious to him. He told us that often. And these would be the last scenes of his life. Usually it's the way we say he slipped away, but my father didn't slip away. He still had strength in his body, strength from a lifetime of labor, support his family, to serve his church, to be a good citizen in the community, and to get joy out of life, which he did. But finally, he did make that voyage. And the feeling in the room, I still remember. It was peace. It was a feeling of accomplishment, of a good man who had come to do certain things in this life and had accomplished it, and now he was ready to move on to the next. That's what death is all about. Now, admittedly, it can be sad. It is always a time for dedication, rededication. But it's not scary. We've turned it into a Halloween event with lots of, shaky skeletons around and witches and goblins. How did we come up with that? I think there are a number of reasons, but one reason I think is the unofficial philosophy of America, which is scientific humanism, which among other things says If you can't weigh it or measure it or see it, it doesn't exist. And since people who die, you can't see where's the life that they once had. Shall we say spirits? Well, it doesn't exist in this philosophy. Well, if that's the case, then death is a horrible experience, right? And particularly is this difficult if it happens in a sad time. A child who dies from a disease, a young soldier dies in battle, a mother taken from her little ones, and most tragic of all, a life that had great promise, but is lost in bad living, bad habits, and prematurely comes to an end. Now that's tragedy. But all of this is sacred. And how we view life has an awful lot to do with how we view death, right? If we're living by that philosophy, this is it, what are we going to do? We'll get all the power, all the money, all the sensual pleasure we can because it's not going to last that long, and then it's over. One long dark tunnel off to nothing. But if we believe in the opposite, we're going to spend our lives improving, trying to bless other people, trying to be more godlike, if we can say that reverently, because when we leave this existence, we just, it's a death here, it's a birth there. That's about all that amounts to. We cross over through the veil and we go on from there. That is our position. Should we die? Happy day, all is well. Have a nice Memorial Day.